everyone. Going to be bringing you another ship breakdown. Today we're going to be focusing on the Fang. This one was being requested by some of my viewers over on Reddit. So I'm just going to go ahead and break this one down. That way we can go ahead and see how this one works. So one of the things I want to start off with, especially in regards to this particular build, are the mods that were used. The mods that make up this build here to make things a lot easier are going to be Avon Tech shipyards. It does use quite a few pieces, including this hood piece right here and these nose cones. We're also going to be using better ship flip parts. The reason why we're using this is because there are certain pieces that are, as you can see, flipped in ways that we are not typically used to seeing, such as the Stamos bumper, and better part snaps. Better ship part snaps. And the reason why we're using better ship part snaps is because it actually allows the connection of pieces that normally would not be connectable, as seen there. The other mods that we're going to be using is the larger size limit, because this ship actually does go slightly beyond the 40-meter limit. We're also going to be using ship pieces unlocked. It makes things a lot easier, especially if you are getting into shipbuilding, so you don't have to go traveling to a bunch of random shipyards and having to go to different locations throughout the settled systems. It makes things a lot easier when building. As you can see here, if we go over to the cockpits, down here we have access to not only like the Cabot Bridge, but even like the Kontiki Bridge. These are only available in certain places, like the Kontiki Bridge is only available over in Neon, and the Cabot Bridge is only available over in New Homestead over in the Sol system. So it makes things a lot easier, so you don't have to go flying everywhere in order to get pieces. And lastly, ship colorize. This one isn't entirely necessary, but it does allow for nice things such as turning your weapons different colors rather than being stuck with whatever color schemes that they have. So you can make your ships look a little bit more uniform rather than a nice, like, cool black and red ship. Then suddenly there's just this obnoxious, like, white exterminator laser particle here. Where is it? Like this one, for example. Normally this would be white and red, but you can now change the colors to whatever it is that you need. It's a lot better. You can make your ships a lot more uniform that way. So the main build is actually quite small, or rather the functional part of the ship is actually quite small, because this ship was meant to be more of a kind of like a mercenary bounty hunter ship. It's not really meant to have much else in it. You go in, you do your job, you get out. So the main piece, or the main structure, is going to be connected using these stroud pieces. You can use whatever halves that you like. I just happen to use stroud pieces because it fit the build a lot better. We're going to go ahead and stack 2 of those. We're going to get our cockpit and then a companionway at the very top. This is the entire internals of the ship. There's nothing else going on in it. The rest of it's just decorative. The very bottom hab is supposed to be an armory, so that way we have direct access to the armory. And just above it is going to be an all-in-one berth for your player character to sleep. Companionway up into the Magellan C1X cockpit. I tried a few other cockpits to see if I can potentially make first-person flying viable. Unfortunately, I was not able to find a combination that made first-person flyable and kept the overall flow of the build. Nothing was really flowing into this piece here, the Avon Tech hood. Nothing was flowing as well as this one, so that's the reason why I stuck with that one. So let's go ahead and start building the entire ship, and I'll go ahead and explain the process along the way. Starting off with the main structure here, we're going to go ahead and add on parts. One of the parts that's connected directly to the ship is going to be starting with the wings. So this wing here, we're going to go ahead and connect it as so. These pieces are going to be connecting directly there. We're going to copy it over to the other side. There we go. We're going to go ahead and grab another one of these pieces, and this is just the shroud part that we're just flipping to be like this. This piece we're connecting here. Now, if you remember in my last build, one of the quick ways to go ahead and snap everything together, especially when things are a little bit finicky like this, is just by simply selecting all, and when you grab the actual structure, it'll just snap up to the nearest piece. We're going to go ahead and copy that over to the other side as well. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and add on to the next part, this Stroud Cap C. Same thing, we're using the better ship flip parts. That way we have access to different flips that makes this building a lot better. I highly recommend using it. It makes things a lot more fun. Let's go ahead and copy it over to the other side. Oh wait, that's right, sorry. Just simply press Y to flip it facing the other direction. Now, this is another piece that we're going to go ahead and connect. However, this piece is going to be connecting like so. So what's happening here is that this connection point is snapping to that connection point right there. That's where we're placing this. We're going to go ahead and copy this over to the other side as well. So now we're getting our wings set up here. The next parts that we're going to go ahead and connect are going to be these Deimos wing bees. What I did for this particular build is that I went and brought this over here to connect to that point that we see. Same for the other side. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to bring it forward by copying another piece and then just slowly bringing it over this way up to that point. Now, this particular section here, I do recommend flipping this to be in this configuration. The reason why is that it will actually allow for these weapons to be visible without actually being too embedded into the wings, which can look a little strange. But if you prefer that configuration, you definitely can do that instead. And then for consistency's sake, you could always just, you know, try to make a uniform, but you're not really going to see any of these pieces, so, you know, it's not really going to hurt anyone. But if we copy this over to this section over here, flip these parts, there we go. So now a lot of the ship is starting to already come together. We're going to get these Ares DT60 engines. These are the max strength Ares engines. I'm going to put it right there. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and just get these Jishaku ND-RF rapid railguns. Again, you could use whatever weapons you want. These are just the ones that I use for this particular build. Place that there. Same for the other side. Place it there. Perfect. Now, let's go ahead and connect a few other pieces here. What I did for this section, and the way that it looks the way that it does, is that what we're going to do, we're going to grab this piece here. And what we're basically going to do is just flip it upside down and place it here. Now, one thing that we don't want, one thing that I did for this particular build, just to make it look a little nicer, especially so we can get a little bit of this nice little highlight of this cyan color, is that we're snapping that connection points to that piece right there. That is how that's being connected. Rather than being connected directly up into the other piece like that, so you can see it looks a little off, it sticks out a little bit, it just doesn't have the aesthetic that I was going for. So that's how it's going to end up like that. The same thing is going to happen on the other side. We're going to grab it, just flip it, and place it underneath right there. The part, though, that is going to be directly snapped together is going to be right here, as we see. So if we were to grab this, place it like that, place it like that. There we go. The next parts that we're going to go ahead and add on to the entire ship is going to be the engine assembly here. So what I actually used were these Nova cowlings. We have a collection of 3 pieces like this. So this pointy end and then these 2 middle sections. They snapped directly to the bottom of this shroud cap here is what it's connecting to, just so you understand how this build is working. We're going to go ahead and copy that over to the other side as well. Now, this part was a little strange. I did try to optimize it by removing pieces. Unfortunately, the original build was deleted, so I did have to remake it. But I did manage to optimize the build a little bit by removing some of the unnecessary parts. There were some unnecessary modules that were hidden inside of the wings. I removed a vast majority of them. That way you can cut down on part count. Too many parts can start to mess with your game. So moving these supernova engines, the connection point for the shroud cowling is going to match up with the top part of this supernova engine. Like so. And place this over here like so. Now for the engines, what I did was I embedded one of these Deimos spines. You can use pretty much any other parts that are thin and have a connection point like this. There are a few pieces that might be able to do this for you. I just tend to use the Deimos spines because they're a lot easier, especially if you are into vanilla or glitch building. Using these pieces is pretty useful overall. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect this piece by making sure that that snap point matches up with that snap point right there. And again, we can achieve this just by simply selecting all and letting it snap down. It's a lot easier that way. Same for this side. Put it there, select all, snap down. Easy. What we're also going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the same pieces and we're going to go ahead and bring them down like so. Now what we're going to do again, we're going to take these pieces here and align them. So if we take the Deimos bumpers, you can find these bumpers specifically here. If you're using the better ship flip parts, it's going to be right here, just underneath the other regular Deimos piece. I'm going to take these, and again, same thing. Just get them, select, snap. Hover slightly over. Select all, snap. We're also going to flip them upside down. Get both parts to be like this. And the exact same thing is going to be done at the bottom. Right there. The same thing that we did over on this side as well, the way that we had it just slightly offset, being connected via this Avontech wing. We're going to do the same thing for the shroud caps here. So if we just took this, bring it over here and make sure that it snaps directly to this other shroud cap here. Bring this over and snap. Same thing. The wings are already starting to come together pretty well. Now, another part that we're going to go ahead and start to snap together are going to be these gears here. I use the NG20 landing gears. They have the best landing thrust over pretty much any of the other landing gears. There are quite a few others that also have 4 lander thrust, such as, well, there's the NG-20s, and there's also these HopeTech 55 landing gears, the big ones. There are not other, yeah, there's no other pieces that have the 4 landing thrust. And all it is that if the ship is too heavy, you need a certain amount of landing thrust in order to actually get the ship to fly and to get rid of the error. This is the one that happens to use the least amount of gears in order to achieve the thrust needed in order to actually get the ship up to fly. These pieces are being connected directly to the bottom of this Deimos piece, which is how it's connected. So if we were to take this, get it as close as we possibly can, right there, and if we just select all, snap, it's all together. Same thing for this side, just get it a little close, select all, snap it together. There we go. Alright, perfect. So now we're going to start moving on to the more difficult parts. Let's go ahead and finish the back though. We're going to get this Deimos cowling aft. We're going to be placing it, go ahead and just align it. What's going to go right here in this little section actually is the reactor. The reactor is hidden underneath this Deimos hull A, as you can see here. There's nothing else down in there. We're going to get this fuser reactor. We're going to place it right there. And then this Deimos hull A, we're going to align it right here. Now, one thing that you can do to make this easier, I actually learned this off of another builder. His name's J Ramos Works. He's got amazing builds. I highly recommend looking at his tips and tricks and some of his builds as well. But this, what he calls the buddy stack, it's a really useful little tool, especially for glitch building. What you could do is that once there's a piece above it, it wants to snap to the next location. But as you can see, it's not snapping anywhere. So we can actually force this piece to go down, like so. If we select this piece here, and this piece here, it'll force a snap to go down. Now, it's connected. Easy. Take this Deimos cowling, place it there. We're also going to be getting another Deimos cowling. All we'll have to do is just simply flip it upside down, like so. Place it there. Now we're going to go ahead and start moving up towards the fronts to create this rather sharp looking nose. These pieces here, these are all connected directly to the front of the actual frame of the ship. It's all going to be connected through these points here. So let's go ahead and get the majority of the nose of the ship down. So moving these parts out of the way, once I could, really quick, we can see here that the way that it's connected is actually going to be through the bottom down there. All this is connected forward, and it's all going to move over towards the back of the ship there. So the way that all of this is connected, there's multiple ways that you can do this. The best way is going to be through Nova cowlings. What we can do is we'll take this piece, and actually, as a matter of fact, here's a learning opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and align this piece really quick, like so. Just go ahead and get it connected right there. So we're going to go ahead and connect it all through here and connect it directly to that hab right there. Let's go ahead and take this, put it right there. Now let's go ahead and grab exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 Nova cowlings. One of them is going to be the pointing end, and then 3 of the mid sections. I'm going to bring that over here. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the Deimos skeg. Normally this piece you're used to seeing like this. Better ship flip parts allows us to flip it up like this. Same for this particular skeg. We're used to seeing it in this configuration. Where is it? Like this. But with better ship flip parts, we get to make it go up like that. This piece we're simply going to snap here. Again, select all, grab, let it snap. Now these Deimos wings, these pieces are actually going to be connected directly to the middle, and it's actually rather simple. So what's actually happening here is we're connecting it to that point right there, and that point is connecting to this point right here in the middle, thanks to the better ship part snaps. We can place it directly in the middle. Easy. You can achieve a lot of like little half-step options just like that. Things become a lot easier creating these fractional steps using this particular mod. This is the reason why I recommend using it, especially if you want to get into like this kind of like glitch building. We're going to use the Deimos Wing B. I'm going to place it here. Same for this side, flip it over. And lastly, we're going to use the Deimos Wing C, which is hidden right here. Oh, that's the wrong piece. Let's go ahead and just go through our menu. And it is going to be this one right here. This is the piece that we're using. Snap into place. Snap into place. Let's go ahead and bring down the bottom pieces. It is going to be 3 of these, like so. Snap it directly under. Deimos skeg A, Deimos skeg B. We are also going to be grabbing a few other parts that we'll be seeing here. These are the other pieces that make up the little bottom section. It is going to be a the Nova cowling into the Deimos belly, into a Deimos hull A, to the Deimos cowling, the aft bottom, this piece here, into another Nova cowling. These pieces are all going to align like so. That's a really easier way to get all those pieces to align together. And again, the way that you do this little glitch here is that you could just simply start off with this, a Deimos cowling, a Deimos hull, and then the Deimos belly, and then just simply get these little pieces, get them as close as possible, and snap it over. Same thing for this side. Just take it, get it as close as possible, snap it all together. Simple. And again, bring it right there. You're going to want to connect this Deimos hull to the last part of this Deimos skeg there. That's how all that's combined. And we're going to go ahead and grab this Hope 5 landing gear and place it underneath here. The back end of the Hope 5 landing gear is going to connect to the Deimos hull A there. And that makes up that little section. Let's go ahead and continue from here, and we're going to move back up towards the front as well. So from the front of the landing bay, we're going to go ahead and grab this Deimos docker flipped upside down and place it right there. That is connecting to this section of the armory. We're going to be grabbing a Deimos cowling for bottom. Again, it's this piece just flipped upside down. Place it there. And we're also going to be grabbing a Deimos spine A. You are more familiar with this piece in this configuration. That's the way it normally looks, but we're just flipping it upside down. And it creates a nice little overhang piece that I just thought looked kind of cool. Flip this back upside down, and we're going to place this piece right there. So now, let's grab the Ulysses HE3 tank. I would recommend grabbing the 250 fuel version, just so you don't have to jump around as much. You can use far less fuel and you can actually travel a lot further using these two, because you will have a total of 500 fuel. That'll get you pretty much anywhere in the set systems. Continuing on, what we're gonna also add on to this. Now this is the part that gets a little tricky, I'm not gonna lie. So what we're doing here, how this is all connecting to create like this little effect here, is going to be because kind of pretty much all because of this Avon Tech piece here. We're gonna need this. We're going to need this Deimos, or sorry, the Avon Tech hood. And the way that these are connected, the Avon Tech hood is going to be actually snapping to this Deimos spine here. Now the way that this works is there is a connection point kind of hidden within the actual Avon Tech hood right there in the middle. As you can see here, there's a connection or a snap point right here on the top middle section. And as you can see, it snaps to that piece there. That is how that is actually snapping onto that little section. And again, let's just go ahead and give that a look. And that is snapping to the back end of this piece here. That is how that's all connected. Now the way that this is connected, let's go ahead and remove some of these parts. But continuing on, we're going to go ahead and start connecting more of these pieces. So this piece here is actually snapped to this section of the Avon Tech hood. And if we were to flip that, like so, this particular piece, this Deimos spine, is actually connecting to the top of this Avon Tech hood, like that. And the way that we're actually allowing this piece to be sort of incrementally fitted halfway through, as you can see, it doesn't want to snap anywhere. The way that we're actually getting it to be forced into that little section here is by creating a fake connection point, by forcing the game into thinking that there is an actual connection point between this Deimos spine and this equipment plate right here. And the way that we can do this is, if we take this equipment plate with our missile launchers, it's actually snapping right here. That is how that piece is connected. And then this piece is going to be connecting. As you can see, it picked up the missile launchers. Normally it wouldn't have done that, but since the game thinks that there's a connection point between that weapon snapping point and that equipment plate, that's how that's created. Now, how to explain how I got this piece in there. So it is a little bit hard to explain. So let me see if I can actually show you what's going on down here in the middle. So the way that this was done this particular piece here, and what it's actually snapping to is actually going to be, if I'm not mistaken, let's see if it'll actually show us here. Don't think it's actually showing us, but that snap point back there is actually what's getting us to connect it like so. So let's go ahead and just remove this really quick. There we go. Okay, so what on earth? There we go. Delete that. There we go. Okay. Let's get this to move down. Sorry, there's already a lot of pieces in this build. So what's happening again is that the connection point is being created through, where is the piece? I'm going to delete this really quick. Ah, figures. It's no longer snapping. Okay. Well, what I ended up doing was I actually brought this piece down, and I actually snapped it halfway down by creating like a little force connection point. You can create a little bit of a half step by doing so. If we were to grab this piece here, the horizon weapon mount, this is actually a half step from this point down to that point. So what you can do is if you grab a weapon piece like this, and if we were to highlight this, when you copy it, it'll copy it down. So if we highlight this piece here, highlight this piece here, and then just simply, oops, let's go ahead and force connection points really quick. There we go. Okay. So if you were to take this piece and force it down halfway, as you can see now, it is actually snapped halfway down, or brought halfway down. So that's when we can take advantage of the little thing here. You place it like so. That's going to create that little point. We can go ahead and just kind of build backwards. Get these pieces. Make sure that they snap to that shroud piece right there. And then if we were to have grabbed our equipment plates, let's say that that wasn't there. That is generally what it'll look like. Grab this piece, snap it there. So now everything's connected that way. And then again, you can go ahead and take the rest of your pieces and bring them over. So let's go ahead and make this easy again. So if we were to start all over, move it out of the way, grab this piece here, snap it to that point right there. That's what the piece is going to connect to. We're going to break it down a half step again by grabbing a horizon weapon mounts, selecting this piece here, and then selecting this piece here. Once we copy, it'll bring it down a half step, delete the original. It is now a half step down. We're going to go ahead and take our Deimos Spine C, place it right here. Take our two Nova Cowlings, place it right there. And then we're going to go ahead and take the snaps together equipment plates with our missile launcher already attached and put it right there. And now let's go ahead and oops, what seems to be happening? Strange. What actually happened? Something went wrong. Oops, there we go. Okay, my bad. Sorry, this was not properly connected. I did not properly connect that little snap point over here. So let's go ahead and fix that. And again, same thing. We're gonna highlight this, copy it down, and then just repeat the process. Make sure that the piece snaps to the top part of that. Take our pieces here, make sure that they're connecting. Take our missile launcher and connect it like so. And it is still not connecting. What on earth is going on? You are not working with me today. Let me get these pieces out of the way really quick. Why are they not snapping? Okay. Alright. I do apologize, everyone. So, what we want to ensure is that when we are building this little section here, what we are doing is that bottom snapping point right there is connecting to that snap point right there. Make sure that those are aligned. Copy it over. Same thing. Highlight this piece and the front piece specifically. Bring it down a half step. Delete these two pieces. It is now a half step down. Bring these back. Right? Oops, sorry. Put this demo spine facing like so, right there. And then take your missile launchers, connect it to your equipment plates, and place it there. It is now all connected. So again, we're going to take this piece, and this piece is going to be snapping to the back like so. You can see that it will be about just a little further away from that piece, or that little section there, is where that's going. Okay? Now, there is a RD3000 beta grab drive also embedded in there. You could place it right here. You could place it right there. Either or works. I typically place it under here because originally that was the snap point for this whole section right there. It was supposed to connect this to this, which connects to that Nova cowling, which was on the original build. Next, what we're going to do, let's go ahead and take another of the Deimos cowling just so we can kind of finish up on the top. Place it there. Take this Deimos spine A. Place it there. We're going to take one of these Nova cowling 1LPAs, these little round ones. We're going to get two of them. Leave that off to the side for now. Flip it over there. Get this piece to connect like so. Get that piece to connect like so. We can go ahead and grab this and connect it. Okay? Now, this little section also is not entirely necessary. I just used it for the build flow. But what we can do is, if we were to remove this Deimos hole really quick, bring this back over here. This is how we're going to go ahead and do it. Same thing, select all, snap up to create a little bit of a better flow for the cockpit there. Bring this back, place it like so. Okay. Get this piece, we're going to flip it upside down. Connect it like that. Now this piece is going to be connecting that connection point to the connection point that's off to the side right there. I don't know if you can see it kind of hidden. Let's go ahead and grab this like so. That is what it's snapping to. And let's do the same thing for the other side. Select all. Snap it right there. Let's take our shield. Bring it over. Connect it right there. We're going to grab our one of these pieces. This is going to be connecting right here. And this piece is going to be connecting right here. Next, what we want to do is we want to get this piece right here. I'd recommend grabbing it like this and like so. We're taking this and we're going to be snapping it. Give me a second. Right there. And again, it is going to be that snap point right there in the very front, connecting to that snap piece that's right there at the edge of the Deimos Wing C. Like so. Do the same for the other side. Snap it right there. We are going to take our structural piece, the Avon Tech nose cone. We're going to specifically want this version. And we are going to be snapping it here. Now, the game is going to act a little funny, so you could just simply do this. That way you don't have to keep glitching stuff. Take this and connect it. There you go. Same for this one. There you go. And that is pretty much the entire build. Nothing else is present. The entire ship will be done at that point. You can go ahead and add your weapons. I added these Disruptor 330 Highland beams. I chose specifically the B version just because they shoot slightly faster than the C versions. And they still deal like a pretty decent amount of damage, and these are the single shot versions, not the full auto, because you can keep consistent fire with the single shot versions. And the reason I chose the single shot versions is that currently I'm using the, I believe it's called the Modular Series Cheaty engines, which allows you to have up to 12 engines instead of a much smaller amount, either 6 of the 2 powered engines or 4 of the 3 powered engines. So that's the only reason why the equip power is actually a lot lower than it should be, because right now it should be at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power allocated to just the engines, which means that you are going to be short power versus how much is actually allowed. So that's the reason why, is that once you tune these down just slightly, the only thing you're losing is rate of fire, but you can constantly shoot, whereas the full autos, you are limited to the certain amount of quote-unquote ammo that's like in each one of these weapons. The ones that are full auto though are going to be the rapid railguns, and then I did glitch 2 of the missile launchers together here. There are 2 of them, and that's just so you can get a little bit more bang for your buck out of those missiles. And that's the entire build.